Welcome to Time by the Tent. I'm Joy Baird.
I'm Holly Baird.
And we're going to look at the fourth weekend of our land, revisiting behind the scenes. And this week, we name our property, our land that you came up with. We'll talk about that. But if you want to see previous episodes of Behind the Scenes, we will have them linked in the show notes below, as well as the non-behind the scenes version of this episode.
This was a good one. This was a good week. So we did a lot.
This is in the Northwoods of Wisconsin. We purchased the land in July of 2023 and has modified it weekly. I don't know. It appears the car is fairly empty here. Usually we've just jam-packed it full with as many things as possible in order to establish a permanent campsite on the property.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we had emptied some out, but we this is our food bag and our cooler, and this was a fun week because we did a lot of stuff, and we kind of I think are becoming more established in a way where it's becoming our norm to just start going with our stuff, and then getting, having an action plan, and now we're like really moving in, kind of.
Well, when we bought the property, we had a duration period of time, when we waiting for the closing to occur. So we were planning, okay, here's the things that we're going to do, here's the things we're going to put, and there was only so many things in which you could take up each week in a 4-door Honda Civic.
So here we are. We're going to install the stove, I think.
Well, I don't know if we're installing the stove yet or not, but yeah, I think that's where we're at. We got if that is the case, this is a 10 by 12 foot Ozark wall tent, and if you have watched the newer episodes, we now have a 10 by 20 that attaches to this, so it's super tent. And it's amazing how much more room we have. Now, if we get a hard structure building, it's not going to be the square footage, but we'll have a loft and we'll have extra space and a floor that actually is not ups and downs and all around. So I'm explaining that the water in the last couple episodes that was coming inside the tent was not blowing under the front of the tent as I had thought, but was coming through that stove jack because the portion on the roof was not sealed properly.
Yeah. So, and there's our nice mattress that we like.
And we're installing this wood stove, and we're up there, let's say April to, and the hunting season ends for me in middle of December. We use that stove in May, June. We've used it in July. We've used it in August. Not so much in some instances to keep warm, but just to get the dampness out of the tent.
I think we used that grill this week too. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure we met our neighbor this week as well. So, anyway, so here you are burning some stuff. I don't know what you're burning.
Just getting the fire started. Yep, getting the fire started with pine boughs. And
one thing that we changed this last year, not this year that we're talking about, but our past summers, instead of eating sandwiches on the way up, now we leave a little bit early and then we get lunch started.
We cook instead of having cold sandwiches. We have something.
We did use the grill, so I was right. So that this, I don't know, this must be for dinner though, if I remember right.
But yeah, ribs. Yeah. I was trying to smoke, and this was the one time I think we used the grill. I was using wild red cherry to try to smoke, at least get some kind of sear on it, and then was going to finish it off on the grate above the fire.
Yeah, so that's what's going on, and here we are with the stove, which is it's heavy, and we're getting it installed, so that's good too. And we put a 5-inch pipe or 6-inch
6-inch pipe in a 5-inch hole there. Yeah. Those stove jacks are for 5 inches, and because of the little stretchiness, it worked with a 6-inch pipe, which is the logwood's stove diameter. Now, we have an additional stove pipe that I will install this year in order to get it even higher. You need to be at least 6 inches above your ridge cap and to get a good draft out of it. But I will put another 2.5 foot or 2 foot piece on there to get even higher to try to get a better draft out of it. Now, this stove here, I found at a yard sale 15 minutes up the road. For $75. Now this, if you went to a big box store and bought it, you're looking at about a $400 stove on a good day. The thing is cast iron and is extremely heavy. So if anybody takes anything from the tent, the stove is going to be the only thing left because they're not going to drag that through the woods. It can handle a 21-inch long or 21-inch long log and almost, I think it's 10 or 12 inches diameter. So you can put a lot of wood in there, but it will bake you out of the tent.
Yeah, it will. It will, especially, I mean, not like in the middle of winter or anything like that, but
on a moderate day.
All
right, got the cap on to keep water from going in it. And you want to make sure it's about 6 inches minimum above your ridge cap, which we are. Ridge cap is about right here, so we're about 10 inches above. Otherwise, it won't vent right. Anybody who's installed a stove, you probably know that. But for new people who are looking to do something like this, that's what you got to do.
Okay, so here we are naming the land. We named it Peaceful Pines.
You came up with this name, and what's the origins of that?
It's because our tent is between two pine trees, and it's a very peaceful place. So it's Peaceful Pines. So I made this sign and named it Peaceful Pines. It's more purple than blue in real life. It looks kind of purpley or bluish to me here on the screen. But yeah, so we named it, and I made the sign, and I don't know what else I'm saying.
No, and there's videos documenting this on our channel. If we can't find it, make it, then we look to buy it, but buy it on sale or at an extremely discount. Very rarely do we buy things for the land or in life in general that is full price, that type of thing. We look for deals. Just like the Gorilla Cart, we got that basically 50% off on Amazon days. And you've made a lot of signs: a bow camp, deer camp, muzzleloader camp, turkey camp. We have designated signs for specific times of the year. This is a trail in which we'll access the from the tent up to what now is your secret garden, your little nook of the woods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my little secret garden nook. I don't know what you're saying.
I've got a hand sickle here. This is something I found on Junk Day 15 years ago, and it sat in the attic. Never did anything with it, and this has really we've used it quite a bit in order, one, to cut into the property, and two, accessing certain areas of the property that, as you see behind me, that's the way the whole woods looked like whenever we got there 4 weeks ago. At this point in this video, it was just a thick foliage of raspberry bushes and ferns. And just anything, it just was woods. It had nothing been touched for years.
Yeah. So those, you're making the path, what's it called, the trail, basically to the secret garden area, and that's what's going on. I don't know what I'm talking about here.
We're eating ribs.
Oh, we're eating the ribs.
We're eating the ribs, and you brought, I don't know what
focaccia.
Okay.
Focaccia bread.
What kind of bread is that? Where does that originate from?
It's like an Italian bread. I got it from the grocery store. And there's our fire. There's more fire.
Now, here's if you've gotten this far in the video, thank you. And you can always subscribe. I got a lantern here. One thing, I grew up on a farm, and it's been many years since I have worked in the environment of being out all day and sweating all day to the level that we are in the hot summer of the Wisconsin woods. Stay hydrated. And I have found that I need to consume more salt in the summer, because otherwise
But not in the fall.
Not in the fall.
Because that makes you sick.
Salt helps you, because that's the first thing you lose whenever you sweat, and then you feel horrible. And I would come home and wouldn't feel good until about Wednesday, and then I'd feel good again Thursday, Friday, and then do it all over again until I figured out what was going on. Made breakfast sausages here.
Yeah, and some potatoes.
Boy, that looks really empty behind there without any wood. That is a massive wood pile now.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, if you have a permanent campsite or a permanent structure, always have way more wood than you ever think you need. Here I'm landscaping, and this is what it did. Just went in there, okay, a little bit at a time, because it was just ups and downs and ruts from the logging equipment. And over the course of the last year and a half, where there's been a stump here or a stump there, I've taken and just cut it out with a mallet or a splitting maul, and got it out, and just kind of a little bit at a time.
I think this was like end of July-ish, I'm going to say. I don't know. But it was pretty warm. This was the morning time, so probably wasn't.
It's more damp and chill than But yeah, once you get that sun up, it turned off warm and not unbearable.
No.
It's not like Florida heat at 3 o'clock on July 5th, type of thing. It's very comfortable, and the difference between where the camp is and where the car is parked is 246 feet and a decline of 46 feet. And on a hot day, it is a tremendous difference from being in the woods versus where the car is parked at this point.
So here's my hammock. My hammock scares me a little bit.
You have not used that as much as you anticipated using it.
No, but it's okay. It has to be the right conditions for me to want to use it. So here's the hammock, and I don't know, I'm probably just telling you about it.
Yeah, and I don't, and we only use it in the daytime. We never spend the night in or anything like that. I do not understand how these people who we watch camping just go in the middle of the woods, put a hammock up and a little tarp, and just are open to everything and anything that wants to walk through.
It's kind of freaky. But anyway, here we are. We're putting up our, what's it called, markers? Supports for what will be our driveway or our parking pad.
Right. It kind of goes down, and we're going to bring rock in, so I wanted to have a retaining wall there. And I did get pressure-treated 1x1s from Big Box Store, and then I dropped a couple of trees in the area there in order to create that retaining wall so that rock does not just flush down. It actually holds there. And we got, 3-inch, 3.5-inch, 4-inch rock. I forget. The 3 to 5 inch rock is the diameter range. So it's not road rock or regular, what you would think would be driveway rock. And we went with that size rock simply because, and we put a weed barrier underneath it, because I know and I've seen road rock disappear in driveways, and it doesn't take much to make it disappear.
And here you are dropping this tree, which was an adventure.
You've never seen a tree drop that was that close.
No, I have not. And I was in charge of making sure in case something happened, I guess I would have called the emergency services. I don't know what I would have done.
I do have a hard helmet on, which I typically never did back home on the farm. This is about a 15-inch, 12 to 15-inch diameter elm tree, and I've got wedges. So you are 30 yards away from me, behind me, and the tree is going to fall as you're looking to the left. We knew this. This was not going to be a surprise. The tree was in that direction, and I just assisted it with the wedge. And that's the first thing. You always want to have an escape route, regardless of how safe you think it's going to be.
It was just so funny to me because this was, not something that I've ever experienced. And then, it's like, here's my spouse of however many years, and here we are doing our thing.
But have a chainsaw that is not going to peter out halfway through the cut, and have an escape route. Here's the retaining wall.
It's a very nice wall.
And then we're going to put weed barrier down when the time comes for rock, which I think in the series of videos.
It's in September.
Yeah. So this was the $6 plastic wedge that I used in order to get that tree to drop, just because, there's the road, not heavily traveled, but the last thing I want to do is try to clean up half of a tree that's fell on the road. And in the olden days, the wedges were metal. That wedge there, again, is plastic. I've nicked it several times with a chainsaw. It doesn't damage or ruin the chainsaw. It just takes a little chunk of plastic out, and that's what I'm explaining here, that a $6 investment, one, got that tree to drop the right way, and two, when you hit it with your chainsaw, you haven't ruined a $25 chainsaw blade. You're making kebabs.
Shish kebabs. This was the weekend that we met
our neighbor Dan, who has a YouTube channel, Northwoods Dream. He's building. He's built a garage in which he lives in now. He's going to build a tiny home. 24-year retired Air Force mechanic. And whenever we heard a four-wheeler drive down the road, what we just showed earlier, that road there, the tree may have fell in, that we were concerned, and we heard the four-wheeler stop by our car. Mm-hmm. So you're doing that, and Holly, you say, somebody's coming, get the gun.
That's what I said.
Yes, which we have firearms as protection because it's in bear country.
Right.
And you say, can I help you? And he goes, I'm your neighbor. Well, then I put the gun down, and we know, we're not freaking out at that
Here's me
point.
trying to do this. You set me up for failure. You gave me this wet wood that was very dense. I got to try this again when you don't set me up for failure.
Those are the lengths of logs that work in that cast
I'm just
iron
saying.
that stove. So I can cut down to 6 or 7 inches.
Okay, I know, but I want to try the chopping of the wood.
And it will help because
Yeah.
we've got a splitting maul now and not a chopping
Right.
axe. That will also help. And you've never cut wood a day in your life.
No.
You've never handled wood a day in your
That's
life.
why you set me up for failure, because you gave me this wet log.
Starts you out tough, girl. If I make it easy, then you're think everything's going to be easy.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
You're talking about how you've never cut wood before and how you want to continue to try to figure out how to do it properly and
Yeah.
get your stance right so you don't cut into your leg if you do slip off or if it misses the chunk of wood.
Never really
Right.
chopped wood before. So this is the first. It's gonna
But
take
you
some
are
time,
you're a city girl. You grew
Yeah.
up in the city. This it's not a mystery. This is all you've camped, but not to the level of have your own property and establish your own
No.
entity in that property.
Right.
Well, that is a shortened episode, and we appreciate you checking out. Look at all the landscape in which we've done there to get that really level so we can walk through and not hurt ourselves because of the lay of the land. So until next time, I'm Joy Bear.
I'm Holly Baird.
Thank you for tuning in. Be sure you subscribe if you like this kind of thing, and we'll see you next time.
Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.